All right, for translation here. Saturday morning we dedicated to do two things. Number one, we need to deepen the philosophy. Number two is to, all of you need to master the transition from one movement to the other, because that is helping us to keep moving so we don't stop and breathe and all that. But we need to learn how to do that. The reason why you need to keep the transition moving, and so your mind cannot get off from visualization. It forces you to do that. But we will, at first, we'll do the breakdowns and we keep people staying and visualize. But eventually, we need to keep people moving from one form to the other. And so they have to visualize it. And you can see how important that the practice would be for your own life, your own spiritual awareness, more than anybody else. Okay, so we have to do that. Okay, so please sit down for a moment. Let's see how we can. Okay, so let's see how we see ourselves here. So there's how we standing right here, right? So here is the ground. So let's put the sun right here. So the sun is away by the side of maybe the apple size. Not too big, small. You can make it into like a basketball, up to you, but don't make it too big, too heavy. And then you have the moon. The moon could be right down here, right? And the moon could be the size of a golf ball, or maybe bigger, maybe the size of the apple as well. So the golf ball, or biggest one is the apple. Okay. So if you put the sign, the plus sign and the minus sign here, then you have like a magnet, the north and south. Can you see it on the screen? Okay. So you see the line of energy going up here, and it moves like this down. See there? So you put all this so this is the kind of magnet, right? And here is our sun and the moon. So we would like so much that the energy moves that way. But before it moves that way, then we have this image here that I want to show you. And that is, let's take this away. Let's make it smaller so we can always know it's here. And we can start to see the energy light moving like this. And you breathe. When you breathe, energy is moving up like this here, and like here. From this going all the way up. But then this is inhale. When you exhale, then you think about the sphere coming down here. And I call them the longitude, like on the globe, so we call this longitude. So this is exhale. This is the image before we got to this here. Let's take a look at here again one more time. Put it here. Now look at this one here. This is ultimately, this is what we want. The donut shape, right? And it have a name for it. It's called torus. Okay, so we move from here to there. I hope it makes sense to you. And the name of the breathing is called cosmic breathing. Cosmic breathing. Let me explain to you one thing. It's very interesting how I discovered it. Let me get you to this very specific history piece. And it helps you to understand a little bit deeper our system, that we had the roots, that it doesn't come from me, it's come from many generations. And it began in China many years ago in the Sui Dynasty. Sui. And if I don't write correctly, that is a Sui Dynasty. And there is a monk who is very innovative monk. He designed a system that is so powerful. And the argument is this: at that time there is a fight between the Taoist and the Buddhist, and who would be the official religion of the country. The Taoists always propose, and you have to look at me, that the Dantian is inside, and you need to go into the Dantian, go inside, and go down. Okay, and they are very specific about how many inches, how many parts. You go inside, and then the circulation of the energy going up and down like that. Very good, very true. When come to Master Zhizhe, his name is Zhizhe, the wise one. Zhizhe Tai Chi. This called the wise one. His name is the wise one. Okay. What happened to him is that he said, no. So don't go to that route. You need to stay at the navel. Don't go inside. Don't attempt to do it, because that's pointless. All you have to do is you have to get into the one single-mindedness, the focus, and there you illuminate your nature. Don't want to go that route. I have many discussions, and I remember my master always talking about this practice, and he said, "I'm going to focus on the navel. Don't think about anything else. Just do that." And I had the benefit of practicing this Buddhist system in that line, in the Sui Dynasty, for many years. One day my master came and said, let me teach you how to do the microcosmic orbit. And I was a little bit taken aback. I said, Shifu, I've been trained by you doing this. Now you said doing this, the Taoist one. No, you have to do it so you understand. So I did the microcosmic orbit. And I think it's a very short time that I can see these things going. And during that time, I was in Seattle, 1984-85. I was in Seattle and doing the whole work when I was there. So the master can verify and said, yeah, that's how it works. And during that time, I can sit, and this has happened in 1985 to 86. 86, I go to Calgary, where it's very cold. It's absolutely cold. And I would sit outside in this snow, minus 30 degrees something, and I would sit and I have no cold. The energy is running inside like that. And I have no feeling outside at all. And I can sit pretty good many hours. And so I thought that is pretty good about the microcosmic orbit, 小周天. So I do that quite a lot. Then 1987, my masters, he told me, that's stop. Don't do that anymore, because you just want to learn a little bit and you want to understand a little bit, but no, that's not the path. Much later, on my own, I read enough and I discovered enough. I realized that it turned out that we had this very complex body. We had this flesh body, and then we have the energetic body with all the wiring go inside, and Phương can stick the needle into that energetic body, and you can feel all kind of things. But then there is a deeper body, which I name it psychic. And the psychic body is totally, this psychic body is totally come from your habitual energy. The energetic body is simply the inner wiring of the currents inside your body. So when you have the aura, mostly was affected by the inner currents here. But the habitual energy is the psychic body is a body that you can travel when you are in dreams. We call what is that called? This you can travel, astral travel. You can go astral travel with the psychic body. But then a deeper layer is this the spiritual body. Spiritual body, which is the light. So you start to see they are different. This light here is your innate light. So we need to uncover stage by stage, right? So this is something that we Buddhists, we don't go to that route because everybody have an ego, meaning a sense of self. And every sense of self always has its own delusion. Delusion. Meaning each ego always have agenda. Each ego always thinks it's the best and is promote that agenda. And so it doesn't matter where we go, we get stuck in the sense of an ego. So the master of all, the Buddhist master said, forget it. You just don't want to go one after the other and you just chase after all these bodies, develop this body. Why? Why don't you just develop your light, your inner light? And that could free you completely from all of them. And that is almost, we call, develop the spiritual body. And to develop the spiritual body, the body and the mind go together. If you have spiritual body, you need to have the spiritual awareness. So if you develop your spiritual awareness, then the spiritual body have to be somehow formed to support that. You follow my logic? And so the master said, don't put your time into develop your energetic body. Don't put your time to develop your psychic body. Just go ahead and develop the spiritual body and spiritual awareness. So I asked him point blank on the phone, I asked him, Sifu, don't we have to go to unfold all the layers? He said, no. It's not like the onion, no. The spiritual body, the awareness, the light is always available. You'd have to do to open it up. And that almost the deepest enlightenment I had when I was 26 years old. I realized that that's the reason why we don't chase after all of this and we go directly into developing the light. Now, this story I tell you is the second time or maybe a third time I have told you in this certain class like this long time ago. And so we decided that we go to open our lights, right? Open up the light, the inner light. Now, take a look at this visualization. When you start to see the sun up here, there's such a moon up there in your mind, even be aware of it. That is called spiritual awareness, right? If you go like this, if you jump the frog, and you think that that's the moon, the sun up here, and you're coming down, you're touching the moon, you're going up, all right? You bring the sun over this front, and you go like this, and you see every time that you go here, you bring the sun to your solar plexus. The sun have a house, and that is solar plexus. The sun cannot live in anywhere in your body except one place, solar plexus. That's the name solar, right? And so everything you do, and you pull it back, and you realize that the moon is so close to the back. Then when you're doing this here, you bring everything up. At the same time, the sun go down to the solar plexus and keep yourself balanced. But the point is you are developing spiritual awareness. You start to see my point, right? So we are not trying to do the energetic body. We're not doing that. And we're on the track to create the spiritual awareness. But as you form the spiritual awareness, your body become more spiritual. So what is a spiritual body? The spiritual body is the body like any of your body here, but you are not focusing on this flesh body need food to sustain. The energetic body need the energy. You need to feel it flowing. The psychic body, it needs that you can separate yourself, you can float around. Something which is we call the psychic, the floating around and seeing things. It needs that kind of base. But spiritual awareness needs what? What is a spiritual body? The spiritual body is spirit itself. Have no form, it have no structure, it only have framework. It turned out the framework that we create, the framework when our mind can create that framework, oh, this is the sun, oh, this is the moon. It turned out that is the house for spiritual awareness. Now, to make it integrate with what we do, then we need to integrate with the breathing, the location, with the solar plexus. Boom. Now you create the framework for spiritual body to form. A little bit elusive, right? But can you get it? Can you get the meaning? Can you get the meaning? Why we do the way we do? Can you get it? Maybe you need me to translate the Vietnamese so you can understand a little bit deeper. Now, first of all, let me write out this so I make sure that everyone follows this. So here, you see here, and you see here. This is the body, and this is the mind. So let's say this is your spiritual body. And your spiritual mind is called your spirit. And the spirit we call the ever-present light. That's a very specific name, ever-present, or the eternal light. That's the name of it. But the spiritual body, we have the framework. And this framework here is our visualization. Is our solar plexus, is our breathing. We call the cosmic breathing. So, okay, does it make sense to you now? Please ask questions based on this and see if you have any. I don't know exactly how to translate into the Vietnamese. Cosmic breathing is a good way to say. In Chinese, it's actually Hanrong. It's the breathing that very inclusive, very embracing. And it will come to the torus kind of thing. Now, as you take a look at this here, again, take a look at this here. Okay, you take a look at this here. This is a very ideal image of our energetic, the magnetic lines in our body. But each of us, if you take a look at our aura, then here's how body would be looking like. Look, if you're standing like this here, for example, your line go from the top to the bottom here, but your energy maybe go like this. It's very confusing. It's very much conflicting. See, this is how the energetic lines that we have. And the line from the bottom going up, maybe not that straight. It go like this here, it go like this, and it broken up. And sometimes the energy line will completely block. And the energy have to go all that, and come back in. So it's not straight line. Can you see that? Can you see from there, from your place? Can you see this here? See that? And it is not idealistic like in this picture here. You see there? So we're not idealistic. Our energy lines is pretty much screwed up. Okay, now let's take a look if you cultivate this Dharma, this practice here, that this is what you will see. You will see that slowly we connect the top and the bottom, right? The sun and the moon. Sun and the moon. And slowly the energy lines between the sun and the moon, because we breathe that way, slowly, not that much, but it starts to forming that way. But at least you see the two pictures are more different. This is uncultivated. This is cultivating. This is when you are starting to cultivate your energy, so it's a little bit different. And then final picture is what you see is idealistically. Then your energy line will go like this, right? And you start to affect people around you that they will be affected by your own energy. Their screw up energy, like this here, now are affected by your practice. So you energy going out this way, this energy going up and going this way. And therefore you start to affect people energy, so their energy start to also changing. In the Buddhist world, we say we are changing our own karma. We change ourselves, and then from changing ourselves, we affect changing others. Make sense to you? Okay, very good.
Dạ thưa thầy, con muốn hỏi cái size của moon and sun, is it important? Whether it's the size of the sun bigger than the size of the moon, or it's the same size?
Very intelligent question. If the sun is big like this, it's pretty heavy for me. The sun is too big. If the sun is tiny like this, I can define where it is. So when I do the practice, by the way, I start to do this practice when I do the 6 hands. When you do the 6 hands, I started doing it, and I start to make sure that I doesn't go astray. So I started to read, get all this information. I going back to Tripitaka, find out about what is the sun, how many sutra talking about the sun, how many sutra talking about the moon. So I've gone through at least 37, 38 sutras talking about to find out what is it. And you go into Do Tường Bồ, meaning the segment on iconographies, Buddhist iconography, to find out what is it. And I was so shocked because the sun and the moon in Buddhism is so many images and pictures. I have to sort through all of them to find out what is it, what they're teaching about this. So I come to the conclusion, it's very simple. After I filter all of them, the conclusion is the sun, it has to be this much that you can hold in your hands. Why? You can really hold your guiding principle. Life guiding principle cannot be too much to wrap your head around. It cannot be too tiny, insignificantly, to the point that you don't want to remember, don't want to know. So it has to be somehow that you can hold it and you can bring it down. Now, you look into the astrology, the Western astrology, the Chinese astrology, the Egyptian astrology, they're always talking about your life is written in the stars. And these stars are unreachable. They're so far away. You cannot do anything to the stars. Your life was completely determined by the unreachable stars. It gives us a point, gives us a sense that we are so helpless. We cannot change anything. We have to listen to the one on high. I think it's the wrong notion about our life now. Our life has to be determined by our wisdom, our choice. We cannot think about our life is given to someone up there. And therefore, the sun, yes, it's about this size. In reality, you go out every day for 365 days a year, you never find one day the sun is this big. Never. The sun is always sizable, that you can touch it, that you can see it, but it's not going to be real big, real huge. And the sun is the largest planetary body, the biggest one in our system, in our solar system, right? And it's so close to us, and yet so far to us, but we see it, it's always this much, or this much. Agree? So if you see 365 days, the sun never to be this huge. Very difficult to find that. But now we make the sun reachable. Here, I hold it. And so I think the size of the apple is good. But if you have the size of pomelo, it's too big. You can't cut it. The size of watermelon, oh my God, it's too heavy. So the size of the apple is good. You throw the apple up and down and you can catch it. So make it like this. That's good. Don't make it too big. It's like this. Okay. A soft bowl is good. Now the moon is in the pose of that. The moon can be very small. The moon can be the size of the golf ball because the moon is very elusive. The thing, you remember this, in this picture here, always remember that if you're standing anywhere, then the moon can be down here, can be here, can be here, can be here. It can be anywhere, right? And the bottom here, the ground, is what we call the subconscious. It's also the place of pre-rational and irrational. And so you can reasoning about things in the ground. You just can't see it. You don't know it. But those are the habits, the bad habits, the anger, the suppression, all form of stuff down there. So what you do is you only recognize, oh yeah, it's down there. That's all you need. So it doesn't need to be big, small. You just have to be aware that it's down there. And so it can be a little smaller as this. It can be a little bigger. And many of you would try to feel balance, so you can make it big like that because you're not going to touch it. You know it down there, that's all. So the moon is not a fixed size, but the sun, it is quite a fixed size that you can touch.
Thưa sư phụ, this is not the question, but it's just another thought. So if I'm wrong, please kindly correct me. Regarding to the sun and the moon, the sun is a guiding principle and the moon is the reflex of the light from the sun and internalize whatever that darkness. So for the theoretically and in practice, a person who needs more guidance principle, maybe the size is bigger and need to absorb more of darkness or habitual energy, is probably the moon is bigger. So the sign of the moon is based on the need of the person. That's what I thought, and also the size is depend, is not fixed, based on each individual who practice whatever that to evolve the spirituality.
Yes, true.
It's very benefit, the most benefit to the instructors. So we can dip our mind and dip our thoughts and deepen our practice. However, what I thought, the teaching of this CK10 Plus is benefit for someone that have a background, someone that have some kind of level of practice. For the people who just beginning to learn or beginning to make familiar with the practice, it's not a good idea because we might drive their interest away because they won't catch it, the philosophy and also what we want to deliver. So just like Sư Phụ nói, the people who practice yoga, who qigong, and they already have some kind of practice. They already have the healthy body. This is a healthy body, peaceful mind, and we try to evolve our spirituality. So I think we can teach, but be careful. We have to measure to identify our audience, because if they disappointed because they don't understand what we're doing, then we lose that. We will lose that student. So that's what I thought.
True. We need to understand the audience and to teach, and that to help all this teacher to upgrade your understanding of the student, so you don't teach blindly, but you understand more and more and teach wisely. So you upgrade yourself, but for sure that there are people who in need of this kind of practice because they're looking for something that is really fruitful, something that they can see that their body and mind and their life can have an answer. Because a lot of people, they don't come just to get sweating. They come because they find the teaching is so much needed. And let me explain to you, for example, Chris Saint-Hilaire, my student here. He came one day to me and he said, "No, I want to follow you. I want to study meditation." And I said, you can do relaxation and that. He said, no. I want to go deep. But he has been a very successful businessman, entrepreneur. He's a very successful person in the world. He has been in touch with many groups and learning many things. So he's not like someone who knows nothing. But he knew me back in 1996. So he wanted to learn something really deep. And a lot of us had the fear, okay, don't teach Americans mantra because they will see you as charlatan, or they say you're weird. But it turned out that he said, teach me mantra. So I taught him Sa and the mantra, salute, salute, om, salute, and he imitated. I never write out the mantra, I just verbal. I never write down. He memorized it. And he memorized the syllables. So I thought maybe this is specific case only. He's not like anybody else. His wife, in opposed to what I just said, his wife wasn't very much into the Dharma. But I taught quite a few more formal students, American students, during the pandemic, and they asked the same thing. Is this Buddhist? I said, what do you talk about? Breathing and relaxing and get into the state of relaxation. I said, no, this is universal. I said, no, please teach me something real Buddhist. I taught them I am home meditation. They're so happy. And then they asked some more. The one very specific person, Steve, he said, can you teach me something that's really, really transformed my life? That's the first person to ever speak to me and ask that question. And I said, yeah, sure. So I teach him Sa, the water coming down. I teach him the lotus, and I teach him the mantra. And again, never write out that much. I spoke, and then he taped it, and then he learned from it. And then later, I sent him some text, but he memorized it. But it turned out that we may not understand American people who really want to learn. When they learn it, they're really deeply learning it. They're not want to be superficial. So we have to have something deep. And our system is not the New Age system. We have something very deep, very profound. It's been verified and re-verified by the master up until now. And so we can teach them. So when you go out and you teach, don't worry that people will deny you, reject you, it's too much. Don't worry, because it's all our fear. You never know until you try. So if you try and people don't like it, then you teach the regular one, and you teach the regular one and they feel, oh, that's so easy, then you get something deeper. Now, you go back to the meditation, there's, you have the picture of the image. Let me try to find out if I have that picture. I don't know if I have that picture. The meditation, because tonight we should do that. Somebody comment about the time that we do the two. We do an hour and a half now exercise and half-hour meditation. If that's a good mix, can somebody comment on that, please? If you really look into your student and people around you, the more and more people would really like to okay, here we go. Oh, it's wonderful. So you have this, right? You want to have this? But look at this one here. I am meditation here. Let's just take a look at this one here. So the meditation we teach could be, I will teach many depths. So you see the first depth here, this is the crane, and the first depth here, that we sit quietly, relax the body completely. So this is the easy part, right? The second depth is now you visualize the sun and the moon, and inhale up and exhale, embrace. Go down the longitude, coming down. So this is inhale and this is exhale. Can you see it? Right? Okay. So that is the two forms of meditation that we do. The one, it is simply sit and be still. The second one, the second level is to visualize the sun and the moon. So that is too easy to do. I think tonight we work on the breathing of the first form. Okay, the first and third form, we work on the breathing, how we breathe correctly. because we don't have any time left for today. And we keep this 3 weeks thing. We can go through all these 10 forms. So go through as is that 10 forms? Yeah. First week is the 3 forms. Second week is the 3 forms. The last week 3 forms. So we go through that very quickly. And so we need this morning here we work on the philosophy, but the next week we're not going to work in philosophy. We try to work on your correcting forms. We break down and make sure you have this correction of the forms. What do you think about that? Let me comment on the question about having the group coming together and you learn, and sometime that you every single movement you finish it, you practice and you're done. You stop, you pause and you talk. You can use visual aids, you can use links and tell people to sit and a few people and watching the video, and then they can just give their comments or whatever you can do, just thousands of things. Building community is very important. That's the one thing that you want to do. You want to build very healthy community. People come and they feel that they don't just learn one thing, they learn multiple things, and they feel that they grow along with the community. But if you only provide a teaching, people come and they go, they don't see their growth. People, when they don't see their growth, they grow in interest, grow in understanding, grow in their maturity, they leave you, because each of us had the yearning to grow. Each of us. And as a teacher, you should also yearning to be better, to learn, right? So you have to devise many things, and therefore the class, for me, I need you to grow your stamina, your endurance, the endurance. And therefore, in the other class, that sống vui khỏe, what's the English for that one? Or the English for sống vui khỏe? The other practice I taught, a few years ago, that we build up the community from 30 minutes non-stop to 40 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. And everyone was very happy, finished it, and everyone was happy because we build the momentum slowly. But the endurance also stretch. And for you instructors, I think I need to go back there and build your endurance, because without that, you also falling apart, because you do for 30 minutes and you I'm going home. No. So we need to aim for that. From now until the end of the year, this month, I only have this much time. But October, November, December, that 3 months, I'm going to work real hard with the group, with your group here, instructors. So I make sure that you are stretching and building your stamina and your endurance. So when you go out and teach, you'll be good. You look at any soccer player, they always have to learn how to run, not 90 minutes, 2 hours. Keep running on 2 hours. Because of that, when they go into any contest, any tournament, 90 minutes is for them is piece of cake. So we need to train ourselves to be on our feet, moving for 90 minutes. So when you teach the class for 2-3 hours, it's just a piece of cake. So we got to build our stamina, and that is my plan with you, this group here. Tonight we do 2 hours, but you see that 90 minutes, I'm going to break down, people stand and do all kind of things. But eventually, you need to be really like Olympian. You need to be trained that you can be very good at teaching 2-3 hours, and you're not tired. So I like that to be happening. So my commitment on October, November, and December is fixed. I'm going to dedicate my time to teach. And also January. I don't think I can go to Taiwan that fast. Taiwan is still locked down, and so I can't go to Taiwan yet. So I'm thinking about next year go to Taiwan. So because of that, I want to stay here and work with you and make sure that our group, we build our stamina, our build endurance, and we can be stronger and much stronger. That's the plan. What do you say about that plan? Good? Good. Because I like to see you getting stronger. Forget about how many people come to our class. We need to be strong first. Okay, thank you everyone. We should be good. So I see you tonight, okay? 7 o'clock tonight. Các bạn tới 7 giờ tối nay ráng học. Anh Lâm happy không? Good, thank you anh Lâm. Thank you for your joy.